So we're coming live. So hi, once again, it's Friday. It's 12 o'clock. We know what that means. It is the Get Hired LinkedIn Live. Great to see you all. I don't know about you, but I think it feels very spring-like. It's a lot warmer now. I'm definitely a warm-blooded person. As you know, look, a little update. As you know, for Lent, I gave up chocolate and sweets. It's 10 days so far. Not that I'm counting every hour that it goes, but my God, it is hell. So anybody who's doing a similar thing and has given up anything, I'm with you. I know, Nena, I can see you in here. Yes, Foxy, you've beaten Nena, but I know that Nena is not with me on my giving up chocolate journey. But I can tell you, once it comes at the end, 30 more days, I am going to be devouring every single piece of chocolate there is out there. Look, it's fantastic to see everybody. Again, make sure you introduce yourself, say hello, let everybody know whereabouts you're from in the UK, out in Europe, in North America, South America. We have people coming in from all over the world, and it's really great to see everybody, as usual, coming in here. But make sure you introduce yourself to yourselves, and if you've not connected, please make sure you do. Here it is, sweet suffering. I know. Well, it is. I mean, you know, you try doing it. It's been 10 days. I've not had that, and for some reason, everybody is eating chocolate around. I've got heightened sense of smell. I can smell now somebody opening a chocolate bar from at least a mile away. So, you know, I'm sure I could be useful in some shape or form somewhere. But look, today we are going to go through a subject that I think every single one of us has issues with, which is that sort of fear factor, that imposter syndrome. How do we actually get past all of that and start branding yourselves, start posting on LinkedIn, on various different forms out there? It is a subject that I think every single one of us has an issue here with it. I think as soon as you start on your journey of creating a post and putting something down there, it's pretty fearful. I can see some more coming in. Great to see you, Karina. Great to see you again from Germany. Fantastic there. Pearl from Netherlands as well. Always good to see there. I love Amsterdam as well. I've spent some time over there. Such a beautiful city. So really good to see you all. So look, I think we want to talk about today that sort of the fear factor, and I would be fascinated to find out from all of you here, who's written a post and then deleted it. Who in here has even recorded a video and then decided I don't want to publish it because of fear of what somebody else is going to be thinking, what they're going to be muttering about you and what you look like. And who's even sat in front of your screen thinking, I'm going to create a post, I'm going to do something, and sat there for hours on end procrastinating over it and then not pressing the button and think I'll come back to that a few days later, and you never do. Let everybody know, because it's even better to know that, look, the most likelihood is you all share that. I've done that. Every single one of those things, I've done that on that through. But I'd be quite interested in getting, I know we're not a Zoom call and there's a sort of limited functionality on our LinkedIn Lives to take polls, but I'd be quite interested to see, how does everybody think about when I say about branding yourself, getting on LinkedIn, that's the way to find a job. How do you feel? Do you overthink posting? If you do overthink posting, let us know in the comments. Do you avoid doing video? I know sometimes, especially last week and before, I've always mentioned about the power of creating video and then getting your message across and speaking out there. Do you fear that? Is that the one that is the real big area that you avoid? Or are you ready for it, but you're just feeling a bit nervous and you don't know how to take that next step? So let us know what that is. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because of what we've talked about for however long we've been doing these LinkedIn Lives. It's nearly 9 months or so. Ruth, definitely on the video one, getting confidence in commenting now, but really interesting to see where the uptake is coming from. Absolutely. I think video is one that most people do. I did as well. I didn't start doing video until I was probably 6 months into the journey. I kept on saying, yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'll do that, but I'm not quite sure whether the lighting's right or this is right. I'm not quite sure what to do, and I just stopped myself from doing it. So yeah, I think absolutely. I think that that video is definitely one there. Jane, I just take a deep breath and push click. Here goes nothing. Exactly. That's the attitude. I think what you got to do is have that. And we'll talk about that a little bit later about techniques that I've done and how it worked for me and what I tend to do on that side. It might be useful for you. Nena Gorby me can talk for England, but talking about putting myself out there on LinkedIn, no. Video is, yeah, I exactly. And as you can probably tell, similarly, I can speak. I speak for a living. I've done it for long enough. And yeah, even there with that confidence of knowing how I can speak to different people and what I do, I still find it incredibly tough to then put myself out there on video. But there's a reason why I think it's really important that we tackle this subject this week, because going through the normal way, if you're looking for a job and you're looking to try and find something out there that's going to get you noticed, just doing the application strategy, as we all know, if you're new to this call, you'll know that getting on an application only strategy means that you're going to be job hunting for a long time. The way to do that is to create visibility, and the way to do that is by branding yourself on LinkedIn, getting yourself out there, starting to create a noise that people can see you. Foxy, hey, 100% agree. I know my personal branding landed me my role. I'm even getting contacted by other people now. Amazing. And as you, that's the prompt that I have every week for go and see Foxy's, go and check out Foxy's Lab on YouTube. It's an amazing thing. You know, Foxy's a fabulous example. When you go and see Foxy's Lab on YouTube and see all the different videos that he's put together and what he's done there, and indeed look at what he's produced on LinkedIn, but the videos especially, you would think when you first look at that, oh, here's a confident guy who's like, he's a natural at it. He can do this really easily. And it's super easy to watch, super easy to listen to. It's engaging. But if you'd known Foxy when I first came across him here, which was right at the beginning, the sort of halfway through last year, mentioning about getting yourself out there, the comments that we had from Foxy was, I really don't want to do that. No, I'm an introvert. I can't do that. It's not. It's getting myself out of there. I don't think I can do that. And so going from that journey has been really inspiring, and it just shows and proves the point that you can do it. And as Foxy said, it's made a massive difference. It really has, because people can see it. You know, we're living in a world where people don't just sit there in a little bubble and don't look at anything, and they just wait until they get the post through and they look at a CV from a letter that somebody sent them. No, we're living in a fully interactive world. People are used to social media. They're looking at Googling stuff. They look on LinkedIn. They look to understand more about people. And that's why it's so important for us to look at, how do we create this content? How do we create your branding? How do we elevate you so that you're creating real value and showing yourself off to the whole world? Now, by showing off doesn't mean that you have to do there some kind of song and dance routine. No, absolutely not. It's got to be authentic to what you do and what you really enjoy. And it's important that we get this visibility now, because that's very much part of the employability. The more that you can do that, the more likely you are to really demonstrate that, and people want to see that. So look, let's have a look and see. Let's start take a step back, because I think the first thing that you need to try and get over is what every single one of us will have. I'm sure Foxy had the same thing. I had the same thing when I started my journey on the 1st of February, 2025. I started that journey. And the very first thing was sitting in front of my laptop, looking at that and just worrying. Oh my God, the fear of creating something and then putting it out there. And it was really overwhelming. It was really hard. You had that imposter syndrome. What, everyone's going to be judging me. All the people I know, well, they're going to be thinking, what's he up to? What's he doing? Who's he to say all of this? You know, it's really overwhelming. So the first message is, you're not alone. Every single one of us, it's called being human. We all have these feelings. It's quite natural, no matter what stage you're at. I've done career coaching with high-level, C-level operatives, CEOs, COOs, CFOs, all of them. Some of them who are quite happy to stand up in front of audiences and talk at length about subjects that they are very familiar with in business. But when it comes to creating and putting a post up on LinkedIn, they're petrified. And even doing a video for themselves and putting it on LinkedIn, petrified. And I've seen it for myself. So, it doesn't really matter at what stage you are in your career, what level you are in your career. It can happen to every single one of us. So there's things that we've got to do to try and overcome that. First and foremost, I found it a help for me to understand my why. Why is it that I was doing this? Because obviously, look, I wasn't necessarily looking for a new job. I'm not looking for things like that. I might obviously want to extend my network in terms of clients and things like that, but that wasn't really the main aim of it. My aim was to try and help people who are looking for a job. I deal with them all the time. So my whole life is recruiting, is finding people work, and that great feeling you get when you find an amazing candidate, you take them on a journey, you bring them to the company are really happy, and the candidate's really happy. But there's lots of people there who struggle. And I've noticed throughout my career, there was lots of candidates there that I would give one-on-one advice to, but you couldn't do it for everybody. So I thought, look, now is the time for me to really try and add value to everybody out there, to try and help them, as the job market is radically changing because of AI, because of the way that we are working, because it's made recruiters are inundated with CVs. The market isn't particularly great. We've had ups and downs with COVID and everything. It's a perfect storm. And so now seemed the time for me to be able to go out there and try and add some value. I didn't really want anything back from it. I'm not looking to get paid for it or anything. I want to try and help people. So that was the first thing that I had in my mind. So I think for you, you have to find, what is your why? What are you trying to help? What are you trying to achieve? And I think if you have that, you will have a lot more confidence in what you're doing and the journey that you're going on. And so that's the first thing to happen. So that tends to be a really good way of turning away from that imposter syndrome. It's a good shield for it. You're still going to have it for sure. Absolutely. Nigel Gordon-John sent me a free hat, and I'll send you a free Foxy's Lab mug when I do my merchandise coming soon. I've got the hat here. Maybe I should be selling these. I'm going to create a TikTok shop and do that. I've even got a Get Hired mug. So there you go. Maybe we'll do a swap. I think that's probably a fair swap that we should do on that. But and so look, for me, that turning point, as I mentioned, came on the 1st of February 2025. And I really wanted it. That was the decision. I was going to post consistently. And by consistently, I know that Nena, for instance, has set herself that target of posting every single day for however many days, 100 days, was it? No, I think it was. And that's a really good, strong way of trying to push yourself to do it, because I knew that, this is only going to work if I'm going to be consistent with it. If I set myself that task to do that. And I very much look to think, okay, what do I want to do? How am I going to do that? Am I going to start off with video? Am I going to do LinkedIn Live? What am I going to do? And I thought, no, look, I'm going to start really simply. I'm going to start creating text content. So just text only posts. I'll use some pictures whenever I get it. As ever, I still couldn't start taking pictures of myself and do that. It was like pictures of where I was working, of where I was going. There wasn't me in it. I found that hard initially to do that. But the important bit was just to get things out there. If I go back to my post that I did a year and a bit ago, they have changed dramatically. I'd like to think I've improved in how I've done that. It was a lot more basic. If I look back there and look at that, I think, oh yeah, the hook wasn't very good there. I haven't really drilled in there. It's not really much particularly authentic, and it wasn't really good call to action at the end. But I learned really quickly, really quickly. As I call out, Amelia Sordell, who really helped with her personal branding playbook. I bought her book, attended some of her LinkedIn lives, which she doesn't do the LinkedIn lives now, but she does do a weekly Zoom. But the personal branding playbook was really useful for me. I basically followed the guide that she set in there. It gave me a really good foundation for me to go forward and help. Jules, great to see a quick point of question. LinkedIn says you get more visibility if you post 3 times a week. Is more better? Quality is better than quantity, 100%. If you are posting 4 times a day, 7 days a week, and it's all rubbish, then nobody's going to be interested in looking at it. And that's the point, is that don't post for the sake of posting. If you've got something to say, or you've got the benefit of your experience, of the value that you want to bring forward, then post that. And so there is no limit to it. You can post as much or as little as you want. It's got to be consistent. And by consistent doesn't mean I'm going to be posting, well, I post once every 2 weeks. You're just never going to get any traction. You're not going to get seen. Nobody's going to do that. And that's the important bit, is creating visibility and creating momentum. It's not just about, I'm just going to post and that's it. There's all those other elements. The way that LinkedIn works is they have a number of different things that they have. So they've got the posting, the videos, they've got LinkedIn newsletters, LinkedIn Live that we're on right now. There's a number of different things and ways that you can interact. One of the easiest ways to start on your journey, and I've mentioned this so many times, and I think it might have been Jane or somebody else that mentioned that in the comments earlier on today, was commenting. Commenting is a fantastic way to engage with your market and to really get value. You can get so many impressions, so many eyeballs onto you by really good quality comments if you do that. But my advice would be that you have to look at the whole picture. What you need to do is build that all up. If you try to do that all in one go, you're probably going to fail. I'm not saying you will, but it's going to be hard work. If you're going from 0 to like full on, it's going to take a lot. And you're probably not going to have enough time. You're going to, however, be doing lots of other things. If you've still got a job and you're looking for a job, then you've got to still do that. If you're still looking for a job, yeah, you've got a little bit more time, but you want to set it gradually. So you need to start getting yourself used to doing it. You're still going to have all of that fear going on all the time as well. So it's really important to do it. So look, really look, first of all, in terms of what you want to do and what you're comfortable. It might well be that actually you're really comfortable taking pictures of yourself and having pictures there and putting that out there. If you are, then absolutely do that. But you do not need to have a picture post in order to be successful on LinkedIn. My most successful post with over 1 million impressions that I had was just a text only post. That was it. So don't let people tell you it's got to be video, it has to be pictures, it has to be, no, if it's valuable and people like what they're seeing, then people will look at it and then they'll engage with it. And they'll either repost it, they'll comment on it, they'll like it, etc. And if LinkedIn sees that, they make an assumption. So their algorithm will work out, people are quite interested in this. So we're going to push it a bit more because people obviously like this content. So let's do some more for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to recognize what it's talking about and we're going to push it to people who we know like that kind of subject. And that's why it's so powerful, because if you've identified your target audience and you're talking about things that are important in your job, in your career, in what your experience is, it will start now to get pushed to people who also have an interest in that as well. And that's why LinkedIn creating content can really be super powerful in doing it. Look, it's not a nirvana. It's not going to turn around tomorrow and you're suddenly going to turn it all around. It will take time. And however long you can get it, you could, in theory, you could write a post this afternoon and that could be a 1 million impression post. You could do that. It's unlikely, but it could happen. Jane, please tell us what that post was about. Well, it was one that was, I guess, it got a lot of critiques from a lot of social media marketing websites that looked at it because they identified one that got a lot of traction. It got well over 1,000, thousands of likes, thousands of comments, lots of reposts. It was about, if I remember rightly, I'm not going to do it justice, but you could probably trail back. It's actually on my profile and see it. In actual fact, if I was really clever, I could show it to you. It was about if I was made redundant tomorrow, I wouldn't apply for a single job. Was the first hook line. that I put there. And then I spoke about what I would do instead. And what I would do instead is exactly what we talk about all the time here, which is I'd redo my profile. I'd start identifying my target audience. I'd start following them. I'd start engaging with them. I'd make sure that I'm commenting, doing 20 odd comments at least a minimum every single day. I'd go all in on comments, but I'd make sure that they were really super powerful. I'd make sure that I'm creating fantastic posts. I'd create video, everything. So what I was do is I explained that process, and it got a lot of traction from both sides, because it was, I guess what it did was it went against the natural narrative, which was at the time, a lot of the narrative that is out there that I'm sure that you probably see is the reason why you're not getting an interview is because your CV's rubbish. Buy my template and this is what you can do, and that's going to make it better and magically get you an interview, magically get you be seen amongst 1,000 other CVs that you have. There's lots of that kind of advice out there. So it went very much against the grain. So I got not just the ones who said, oh, this is really thought-provoking, really good idea. Yes, I can do that. But also a lot of people who questioned it. And as soon as you get that sort of debate that was taking place, it then went really super viral on it. So it was really interesting to see from that. Now, I'm not suggesting you have to be controversial or out there or edgy in order to do that. No, not at all. There are, slight techniques that you can do in order to create a little bit of noise, and you can try and take that reader through a journey. I think for me, I wrote that because I've had that personal experience of being out of work, looking for a job, and doing things differently and engaging that way and utilizing it. So I've sort of done it. But I also know from personal experience how super tough it can be when you have a really bad downturn, whether it's COVID, whether it's the credit crunch, whatever it might be. We keep on having these downturns. It's tough, and I did it. So it was a very personal post. It was authentic. It was something from my heart that I believed in, and I guess maybe that also came across. I think the more that you can personalize your content, the more likely it is that people are going to believe you and read it, and they can sense that for it. And so it's really important to do things that you want to do. And it's important to really sort of see that even when I'm writing that, you still have the imposter syndrome will still be talking to you about it. Even as I'm writing something that's deeply personal to me, it's still going to. And it's, there are, to my mind, there are 4 sort of lies that imposter syndrome does. One, the first lie that they have there is that I'm not expert enough. It'll shout to you, well, who are you? Who are you to say? You don't need somebody else telling you that. You say it to yourself. How are you expert? Who are you to be telling everybody what you should or should not be doing? But the reality is, look, you don't need to be the very best in the world to be able to give advice and to show value and demonstrate that. You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. And that's the point. And I looked at it and thought, well, look, I do have an awful lot of experience here, and I've experienced it for myself, and I've actually done it myself. So I know that's how it works. And I know from a recruiter point of view, we're going more and more and more into using the tools out there and using technology, including AI, to find people rather than just relying on job posts to find people. Now, are the job posts going to go away tomorrow? Of course not. No, they're not. But companies more and more are going to be using cutting edge technology to be able to find the right talent for them. And LinkedIn is the way to do that. So if you're not in that game, you're effectively out of it. And that's why it's so important to do all of those. The second lie that imposter syndrome will give you is that everyone will judge me. I hear it so many times. And absolutely, Foxy, imposter syndrome never goes away. I love this, what you've put here. I try to use it to push myself to improve my quality rather than let it tell me to not do something. I absolutely love that. And 100%, it will keep on doing it. And even though it's a much quieter voice with me now, to the extent that I will write something out, I'll sort of change it, edit it, and I sense check it. I will just, it's probably now a split second that yeah, boom. And then I press the button and let it go. But when I first started in that journey, that split second was probably 10, 15 minutes of me procrastinating over, I don't know if I should do it, trying to tweak it. And you've just got to press that button and just let it go. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. So what? Look, you trust your instinct, trust your experience. You will be able to do it. And as Foxy says rightly, use that voice as your push rather than the thing that's pulling you away from it. Use it to help you get that through. The third lie, which I think absolutely we all fall into of imposter syndrome, is I need everything to be perfect first. You try to seek perfection, and you end up, and I absolutely did this, where I was going through that post and then, I need to tweak that. No, that sentence doesn't seem quite right. Oh, I need to rework this. I need to rework that. And if you're doing pictures of yourself, oh, that doesn't look right. Oh, my head looks funny. Oh, my eye looks squinty. I look too fat. I look too thin. Whatever it might be. The video is the same. And we'll talk specifically about video in a second. But absolutely, that need for perfection will just stop you from doing anything. So, you just got to keep on going through that. And then that segues nicely into the video bit, which I know that if I mentioned and said to everybody, go and make a video now after this call, go and do a quick 20-second video, just record it on your phone and then publish it. Most of you would probably be quite fearful of that. Even myself now, even though I'm relatively used now to doing video, would have to really second guess myself. What am I going to say? What am I going to talk about? But the video is too scary is that fourth lie that imposter syndrome will tell you. And it's all it is look, it's just a conversation with a camera, like I'm doing now. I know I'm talking to all of you, and many of you I've got to know well now. But essentially, I'm just talking to a camera. I'm just having a conversation. So what you're seeing with me is probably what I'm like most of the time. I don't quite talk quite as much as this, but look, I'm just having a conversation. I'm speaking to the camera, and it's no different to doing the same thing with a video. And so why does video matter now? Because sometimes you will see videos on there. They may not necessarily get the enormous amount of impressions that some other forms can get on LinkedIn. But I think it's super important for a number of different reasons. Firstly, and before I do that, let's see Nena here. Now, look, now I'm like, sod it. I'm posting it, and I've stopped worrying so much about what other people think, 100%. And I think I know why with you, Nena, is because you set that commitment at the beginning of the year to be consistent, and you were going to do it every single day. And I think by forcing yourself to do that, sooner or later, it goes from being something that's fearful, and you go through that bit of sod it, I'm just going to do it, to then you don't even really think about it now. You just think, oh, what am I going to write about? Oh, that would make a good, oh yeah, that's happened. And that would make a good piece of content. And you just don't even worry about it. You don't worry about what other people are going to be thinking about you. And why should you? Why should you? At all? It's your career, it's your life, it's all the things that you can add value to, and value to another organization when you're looking for a new role. And that's why video is so important, because it builds trust faster than any other form of content, because you can see someone. You can see how I'm moving, what I'm like, how my facial expressions are, when I'm smiling, when I'm not smiling. It's a much more personal thing to do. And so I think it's really good if you're looking for a role and somebody's going onto your profile, they see videos there, they will click on that tab and go and have a look. They suddenly get a sense of you. And I know we've talked about all of these things that you have when you're applying for jobs, and you have these video interviews and all that, and it's the most petrifying thing to do. It's an awful candidate experience. But absolutely, this is sort of the way that people get a window into who it is that this person is. It'll almost feel like this is someone who's working for us. My goodness, how much experience can they have? Pearl, yeah, I'm used to posting content, but somehow not a video person. Though I don't mind, it's a conversation with someone. Exactly. Treat it like that. And I was the same. I absolutely, I put myself off creating videos of me. In fact, I procrastinated so much about it that I even, and you can still go onto my profile, I haven't deleted them because I think it's really important part of the journey to see. If you go back to the first videos I ever did, I wasn't even in it. I was creating videos, but I wasn't in it. I was creating videos of landscape, of something out, because I was so fearful of putting myself in front of it. So it's quite natural. And then I also, when I tried to do some sort of YouTube videos and tried to do this back in lockdown, I was really heavily over scripted. I wasn't particularly natural in what I did. And again, I've kept those up because I think it's really important to see the journey that people go on and what they do. But I think it also shows communication skills. Obviously, that is something, depending on what particular role you have, we all need to communicate. And sometimes that's a skill set in this modern life that's been diminished. So it's really important that it'll do that. Above all else, what video does do is it completely differentiates you from every other person who are the CV only candidates. If you are just someone who is applying by CV and they check your profiles on LinkedIn, which is what people will do, most people don't do this. Most people don't do it. So there is a massive gap in creating video content that will really make a massive difference. And look, hiring managers themselves, they want to see somebody who can just walk into a role right from day one, go straight into it, have that confidence to be able to do the role. And if they will sit, because they're going to be going on your LinkedIn profile as well, they're going to be looking at it. That's who we're trying to attract to us as well, for that hidden job market, not just recruiters, also the business leaders, the business owners, the hiring managers, sales managers, sales directors, marketing, finance, whatever field you're in, they will look at it as well. And they buy confidence. They want to see people who are able to do that, because they're going to look and think already, this person is on top of their game. They understand their subject matter really, really well. I know I'm going to reuse Foxy again. Go and see Foxy's lab and then tell me, and then go and check his profile on LinkedIn. But if you go onto Foxy's lab, and what impressed me with that was that you could see really quickly that that's somebody who's an expert in his field. He really understands his market. And that's why that's a million times more powerful than just seeing a CV, because you could, absolutely, it painted 1,000 pictures for you. Jules, I have posted a lot, but never with my image or video on it. Joined the club when I first started, exactly the same. Feel very uncomfortable with this. There's some basic tips on how to get started with creating videos. I do believe I have something to offer or that is of interest, but posting a video of me, yes, it's a difficult one to do, but we all, hopefully, most of us do. You'll all have something here, your mobile phone, and it's got a great video technology in it. In actual fact, I found out a little while ago that the mobile phones that we have now has better camera functionality than Hollywood did 25 years ago. So that's how good that you've got Hollywood level camera here. You don't need a nice fancy camera for anything. Just your video on your phone. Just put it to front so you can see yourself in it. Hold it up. There you go. Make your video. Talk straight to it, and then create that. That's all you need. So if that's all you really need, if you want to do it that way, if you then want to edit it, just get CapCut. Super easy to use. You can just cut the end off it, cut the beginning off it, make it look quite nice, and always add the subtitles to it, because I'm sure that you probably do the same thing, but most people, they will view video on LinkedIn with the sound off. And it's probably because of the way that they scroll. They don't tend to put it on, and they'll just read the subtitles. So that's all you do. But to me, what I think an easy way to start off with is just practicing. So I would suggest, look, maybe 8 videos on your phone. So you just go straight to the phone, go and do some video on a subject that you know well. So whatever is your particular field, Jules, talk about something within that. But you're not going to post these videos. You're just going to get used to doing it. don't over look at it. So what I tend to do when I do my videos, I don't over edit them. I tend to do it so I will have it. So I'll have a little stand. So I put it like that. I'll look straight to it. And I think, okay, I want to talk about something. What is it I want to talk about? And it could be that I'm promoting my LinkedIn Live, or there might be something that's happening out in the field, whether it's imposter syndrome. And I think, right, I want to talk about imposter syndrome. So I'll hold my camera up and I'll say, imposter syndrome. I want to talk to you about imposter syndrome, the fear of posting. What is it that is really causing a lack of being able to go and create content, to post it? The most important thing to do is to get beyond that and actually start to post it. Once you do that, you'll overcome your imposter syndrome. If you want to find us a little bit more about this, we've got a LinkedIn Live that's going on Friday. Come and join us. Links in the comments. Boom. And then that's it. Now, I might take 2 or 3 attempts to do it because I might fluff my line or I might just forget something. But I don't really care if it's not perfect. If you look at any of the videos that I've done, you'll see that I often will suddenly a word I might mumble. I've not got something out quite right, probably because my brain is sort of working 2 different things at the same time. But I don't care. I don't care that it's not perfect. What it is it's as near perfect it's going to be. And I'm not seeking perfection. I'm seeking just to try and get the message out authentically. I'm sure that when I get more and more confident with it, they'll probably be easier. But that's just me. And I think it's a much easier way of creating videos. And I know that what you're probably thinking now is, yeah, well, it's really easy for him to say that because you can just do that. But it's not as simple as that for me. Believe me, before, I think my first video that I did like that was probably, I think September, I'm thinking last year. Before then, I didn't do it. And every single time I was so fearful. I was writing out scripts. I was putting it there. I was trying to, I've got to read the script to it and I've got to do that. And then I had that sort of epiphany of, what on earth am I doing? What are you doing? Why are you creating that? Just speak from the heart and just speak about a subject that you're really familiar with. And what you're trying to help people, just get that message out there, and you don't need to overcomplicate it. And that's what you do. And do it in your own style, whether it's you want to do it sat down, you want to do it outside, you want to do it in your kitchen, in your car, wherever you feel comfortable. And then try that. But look, I absolutely think you should do that. And I sort of mentioned that that sort of over scripting, you know, that's something that absolutely I really did do. I was at the beginning, I tried to over script it. My advice is don't script it at all. Absolutely do not try scripting and trying to remember it or getting an auto cue or doing that. For me, I won't do that. No, I just sort of basically think, I mean, I will still write down and plan what it is I want to do and what I want to talk about. Not always. Sometimes I will just think I want to talk about imposter syndrome and then just go and talk about it. But sometimes I'll write something down and sort of think, okay, yeah, fine, that's the sort of thing. So I'll play it in my head. And then I just have that conversation as if I'm just speaking to someone about it. And we can all do that. I reckon after about a couple of weeks of doing that, you start to get quite used to it. I think Foxy will probably say a similar thing, you know, and absolutely what he said there. That's what editing's for. If you go super wrong, don't post that. You can edit it. You can, I mean, as I say, CapCut is really, really simple to use. And that can help you do that. And the more that you use it, the easier it becomes. But yeah, Jules, no script. I could see you put there. Sorry. And Jane, my first video was an outline of an idea, unscripted on my mobile phone, and then uploaded. But then checked LinkedIn every 5 minutes to see reactions. Yeah, you do worry about it, but you've got to, I think you just have to press send, just let it go. And you know what? If everybody thinks what an idiot you are, then just laugh at it. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of people who dive in and out of this LinkedIn Live and think, what kind of an idiot is this guy? Look at him. You know, he's got no hair. He's got his silly glasses on. He's got his get hired thing. I mean, who does he think he is? And this, that, got a silly cap. I honestly, I don't care, because if I help one person, then I've done my job. If I've tried to help one person and it's made a difference for them, then that's the whole purpose of it. That's what I'm trying to achieve. out of it. Matthew, this is so encouraging. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I guess the realization about video is that we're not creating a Hollywood epic. Absolutely right. You're not, unless you're really good and clever at it, in which case, by all means, do that. And that these clips aren't going to have a long life. They're there and gone on to the next one. And yes and no to that. Without, I don't want to scare you, Matthew. But one of the great things about LinkedIn is that when you create these videos, they are there and they will remain there. And people do go back in and they will go and look at it, unless you've got hundreds there, in which case, you know, it's luck of the draw that they go back. But as we know with LinkedIn, they tend to regurgitate content at least for 3 weeks. So they tend to sort of push that through. So absolutely, look, I think it's really important to go out there. I said, I noticed there that Jules, that you mentioned like no scripting, as if that is. I think that what works well in this day and age across all social media platforms, and including LinkedIn, is authenticity, Jules. And that's what I mean by no script, is that you can still write stuff down of the agenda of what it is that you're going to be talking about. But I think it's really important to throw that script away. Don't feel tempted just to put it under your camera or there's lots of auto cue software out there. I wouldn't feel tempted to do that and just read it. I've tried that in the past and I thought, you know, and if I re-look back at it, I think it looks really inauthentic. It's sort of obvious. I've been trying to be too professional. You know, I'm not running a TV show. I'm just trying to give information. I'm trying to do it as conversationally as I can and be my authentic self. And I think that's what resonates with people. So Jules, you might do it in a different way to me. Jane will do it in a different way to you, Jules, and to me. You know, we're all unique. And that's what you've got to try and do, is get your way out of doing it. That's what people will really enjoy watching. When I see Foxy doing his, I can see that's uniquely him. It's very much his style. I get a real good sense of what Foxy's about and how he interacts. I think it's super authentic. And I think that's the reason why it's doing so well on YouTube, is because it's authentic. And that's what I think is really, really important. So don't feel tempted that you've got to sound too polished. As I say, go and have a look at my videos. If you don't believe, there are plenty of ones where I've misspoken and I've probably gulped something or said something wrong at the end. And I've even known a couple of them where I think, oh, didn't quite say that right. And at the end I thought, oh, to hell with it. I'm just going to do it. It doesn't matter. It'll do. The other bits is also you can over worry about lighting, about background, voice. Look, the CapCut, and there are other tools out there that can do it. They can clear that all up for you as well if you really worry about it. So as Foxy mentioned, that's why you have editing as well. Look, we're coming towards the end. I'm sorry, we've gone through quite a lot with stuff. I wanted to just sort of wrap up about a couple of different things today. Look, we've talked a lot about creating all this content and what to do. Sorry, I will answer this question, Jules. You've asked, what about backgrounds? It's a great question for it. It doesn't matter. Again, it really actually doesn't matter. That's the easy answer to it. If you're just creating a video of it. Now, clearly, if there's a lot of stuff going on behind you, it might make an interesting video, but people probably won't listen to what it is that you're saying because there's so much stuff going on behind you. But you still could do that. But again, my advice is, don't worry about anything. You've just, as Nike says, just do it. So that's all you've got to do. Don't worry about the lighting. Don't worry about the background. You know, I could probably critique exactly about myself, about my lighting is never quite right, where my microphone might blow up, which it often does on this LinkedIn Live. I had my camera run out of juice a little while, 2 or 3 LinkedIn Lives ago. It just happens, life's not perfect, and there you go. It's just the way it is. But do stuff that you're feeling relatively comfortable with. You can find a place in your home. You can go outside. You can go to the park. Do it in your car. No issue whatsoever. There are plenty of people who will do that. people won't really care about what the background is or the light. People don't look at it and go, oh my God, that lighting's all off, isn't it? No one cares about it. They're just reading what it is they're saying, and they're looking at you as you're saying it. That's all that they're interested in, is just a bit about you. So look, it's really important, just as we wrap up now, just to remember, look, why are we doing all of this? And we're doing this to gain more visibility, to gain more credibility, to add value to your job search, to differentiate yourself. I mentioned earlier, you're up against all the people who are applying for a job with a CV and sitting there and waiting for months on end to get a reply. By doing this, you are leaping ahead of that queue. You're getting access to jobs that don't even get posted, who never get posted, and you're creating something that gives you a lot more confidence and builds your career, not just for that next stage and for that next job, but will stay with you as you continue to grow. So once you get that job, keep going with it. Keep enhancing, keep developing, because it absolutely will accelerate the growth of your career far more than anything else that you could have achieved and done. Look, as ever, look, we've raced through this. These sessions go super quick. If you haven't joined already, if you're new to this this call, please make sure you join the Get Hired community. It's a circle group that we have, that we can answer questions. We have lots of different advice sessions there. We're going to do more and more Q&A sessions there, more video, more webinars are taking place on that. If you don't follow me on LinkedIn, feel free to do so. I also have TikTok, YouTube as well, if you're that way inclined. I don't know. They're slightly different, a bit more tongue-in-cheek, but look, they still get the point. Look, thank you all so much once again. It's amazing, and thank you very much for your support. I hope you have an amazing weekend. Great to see you all. I will see you next week. Take care. Cheers.